Bruce from Ocean Protocol.
Thanks. It's great to be here. I guess it helps to say a little bit of the background of where I come from before we jump into Ocean Protocol. So just a little bit about myself. I came into blockchain in 2013. Before that, I had been doing consulting, working in the automotive space. I had built about 12 banks around the world in the decade before I joined up into blockchain, all around the world. And around the financial crisis, I realized I wanted to have more direct impact on people and trying to find ways to give people more power in a world where automation, AI, and robotics was going to take a lot of jobs. So that's a little bit about me. And when it came together in 2013, Trent and Masha McConaughey reached out to me and they said, hey, we have an idea to start something called Ascribe. It was essentially the idea to put intellectual property on the blockchain and put scarcity in the digital realm. A little bit, let's say it's a precursor to CryptoKitties, Decentraland, and the most recent one, Luxo. And that was what Ascribe was. It was making digital collectibles scarce. We realized that that was a difficult idea to execute in 2013 when blockchain and Bitcoin was still very, very nascent. We moved on to BigchainDB, where we merged the best of blockchains with databases and turning data into tradable assets. We worked on that for quite a few years, and then it came to the idea where you could share data on blockchains and combine it with AI. And that became Ocean Protocol. It is data sharing tools to unlock a data economy built on Ethereum. So up until now, we have had 6 major releases since, let's say, July 2018. So it's 2 years running now. We released a first testnet, opened up your GitHub. Then in October 2018, we released the first service execution agreements. That's kind of the core of the Ocean Protocol, plus a few things like access control and compute prototypes. We released some Ocean libraries in early 2019, just before our ICO, IEO, and a basic marketplace plus some data science tools. Then in July, in 2019, last year, we released our proof of authority network, and that's where the Ocean token had, the utility usage. We had a token bridge so that people could move stuff from the Ethereum mainnet onto the proof of authority network, and then we upgraded the marketplace. Later that year, we released IPFS integrations, additional kind of robustness features, enhancements, and supporting marketplaces, people who want to publish data. This year, we've recently just released last week compute to data, the latest kind of feature capability, which is what a lot of people are asking for, which is how do I share data while keeping it private? I'll have a little bit more about that later. And then we have a couple more releases planned for this year, which is in Q3, we have this thing, data tokens, which is access control using ERC technology, transferability, and then radically simplifying the Ocean architecture to fully leverage the DeFi capabilities that are now out there. And then finally, we're going to activate our network rewards and incentives, release the network rewards for the broader community. So that's pretty much kind of the journey we've been on. For compute to data, I just wanted to jump in on that quickly. It's technology that enables sharing, buying, and selling of data while preserving privacy. And data owners approve the algorithms that run on their data. And then the compute to data orchestrates how that computation execution works. So it preserves the privacy of the data, but the blockchain-based smart contracts ensure that the data provider and the AI practitioner can verify the proper execution. So that's something that we're really excited about. We have a demo tomorrow at 1 p.m. Central European time. I think that's 7 a.m. US time. And then let's say 7 p.m. Singapore time, depending on where you are in the world. We're really excited about it. If you want to see the tech in action, please jump in there. So this is the Ocean token from now, from 1 year ago until now. And so just pause. I wanted to pause and take a moment to do a deep dive on this price chart and the story behind it. So we came out of the gate with the Ocean token May 2019, and it promptly fell for about 4 months until August 2019. That's where this chart pretty much starts. It dipped below 1 cent, a drop of 90%. And then at that point in time, the Ocean Protocol project was valued at about $3.5 million, pretty much fully diluted with the circulating supply. But that was, in our mind, a pretty undervaluing of our project. And so we felt that that was a little bit, the market had priced that in a little bit too aggressively. But we realized that we needed to work really hard to focus on the tech, the community, and the ecosystem. And so that's what we did. In the last year, we have focused, as you saw, on the releases and having a very clear tempo of 3 or 4 months of a release. And over that course of time, we were able to deliver community, deliver the tech, and broaden the base of people who were aware of Ocean Protocol. And our core team hunkered down to grind out the results. And it seems like the market is rewarding the project, the whole ecosystem, ambassadors, advisors, and the team with essentially an 8 times growth over the last year. And so our network value has recovered from about 3.5 million to 30 million with circulating supplies. And we have enough runway to go for at least 18 months, if not more. Also, I'd like to kind of show that since 1 year ago, anybody who has, of course, bought into Ocean, over 95% of the people are in the green right now. So that's good. But the thing that really inspires us is the community. We have Ocean Port, which is for developers, and we have an active community there. We have the ambassadors who are going out there and building different aspects of the community, which is like the how-tos, videos, going on Telegram, and finding ways to talk about the project and help us to get feedback and get inbound. And then we also have advisors where we're starting to activate now that the tech has matured. We're pretty proud of a couple of initiatives. 2 of them, Data Economy Challenge, we had over 180 teams register from 38 countries and 6 continents. We had a whole bunch of stuff going on there. So just testing out how Ocean works with a new data economy. And then we worked on COVIDathon, which was kind of a try within the decentralized space that's still going on to find ways to solve this coronavirus problem in different ways using decentralized technologies. And so we've had 77 submissions to date. I think it's way higher than that by now, but we're very excited to see what happens, and there's more stuff coming down the line there. We have partners. These are the ones we're actually working with right now. We're working with a couple other ones, but they're all under NDA. So we're working with XPRIZE, Mobi, Zulka, Roche, DexFreight, and stuff to build out marketplaces, to test out the technology, and to really allow the technology to meet specific use cases. And as we release information, we make sure to tell the whole community as that happens. We've been profiled in quite a few different media outlets, from CoinDesk to New York Times, MIT Tech Review, Harvard Business Review, Hacker Noon, CNBC, Wired, and stuff. So it's we're pretty happy with the type of coverage we've gotten. And what we can look forward to is the technology, the adoption of the community data tokens. So for the technology, we are going to come out, as I said, with 2 new releases in the coming months. We're really excited about that. We think that that's really going to change the way that people are going to look at data and give them a way to work with data in a way that the decentralized space has not given them before. On the adoption side, we're working with developers via hackathons. I said COVIDathon, we have the Data Economy Challenge, but we also have a whole bunch of grants and bounties that are coming out. And then finally, we have the community DAO, or not finally, but we have a community DAO that's going to up and running in second half of this year, where we're going to actually give the community the power and the authority to start granting to Ocean tokens to people who are adding. And then finally, as I said, the data tokens is the final piece that I'm really excited about. It's something we've been working on a long time. And it's about giving access to data and resources using tokens that are fungible. You can trade them. Those access tokens can be used for a whole bunch of different use cases. And we're excited about that. So that is a quick update. And then for the next 10 minutes or 5 minutes, I can take questions.
All right. Thanks, Bruce. So a couple of questions we have on the right. What are some primary use cases you see for the network? And is there anything particularly interesting you see partners building?
The main areas that's we're seeing the most traction on is marketplaces. So the people who are coming to us are the publishers, people who have data. So the automotive sector, health sector, those are the 2 main ones. And within the automotive and health,
we just lost Bruce. All right, cool. There we go.
Cool. Excellent. Glad here. So as I was saying, with the automotive sector, the main use case is supply chain, as well as they have a whole bunch of type of automotive data they want to share. We have a couple of clients who are under NDA. We can't talk about it, but it's all about kind of how do you share automotive type data within a supply chain, as well as autonomous vehicles. With health, it's pretty clear because we have a lot of use cases now, especially with Corona, where people are seeing that the more we can share data, the better we can get on top of this sooner. And so those are the types of use cases that we're exploring.
Gotcha. And I guess as a follow-up to that, how does the Ocean protocol compare to Numeraire, which I guess is exploring a slightly similar kind of use case?
So Numeraire is really cool. We're friendly with those folks, and we think they're doing a great job. So what they have is they have community competitions. So every 2 weeks, what happens is they'll run a competition with a bounty, and it's usually sponsored by perhaps a hedge fund. It's a trading algorithm. It's some sort of macro type of how do you make money, for instance, in this environment, let's say. And then it's up to the data scientists or the bounty hunters to go find their data and then submit an algorithm. So what you see on the Numeraire side is the algorithm, and where that data comes from, it's outside of that Numeraire ecosystem. Where Ocean fits in, of course, is that data. So where we could see an intersection between Numeraire and Ocean is that Ocean becomes one of those default sources of data, financial data, for instance, that bounty hunters could go to develop a trading algorithm.
Gotcha. Cool. And then another question we have. So I guess going back to the technology slide, I don't know if you could pull that up again. Would you be able to expand upon it? Is the question?
Sure. Is there a more specific kind of angle that was hinted at?
It's not a specific angle. I guess maybe it could be good to just do a deeper dive on that slide if you could pull it up. We still have a fair bit of time, so.
Okay, so in the releases that we've had, the main challenge we've been working on is how do you build in a very simple kind of interface between somebody who has data and somebody who wants to use the data, and what's in the middle. Number one, the core principle is it needs to be decentralized. It needs to run on Rails where there's not capture of by the platform of the information like what we're seeing with a lot of the Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Google, the usual suspects. And so we have kind of a two-sided problem. And where that two-sided problem comes together is a marketplace. And a marketplace is a whole bunch of tech, but the marketplace is kind of the core where we use the Ocean technology so that people can kind of register and publish their data and it can be discoverable. I think that's the main thing that people need to see, is that it's graspable, it's buildable now. You can actually build marketplaces to share data using Ocean technology right now. We have a long way to go with the feature set and stuff to make it, enterprise grade, but that's the core of it. Now, underneath there, you have smart contracts that manage the access to those data sets and orchestrate the actions that are allowed. And the beauty is, of course, those smart contracts, because it's got orchestration, it's open source, you can look at the code. You as a data provider can define those steps that you feel comfortable with that can be acted on your data and under what current terms and conditions. This meets that core goal that what we had, which is decentralized technology, managing orchestration for a specific use case, which is data sharing. And it's pretty much based on all the work that we've done with Ascribe, BigChainDB up until now, because we're inspired by, of course, how the Bitcoin blockchain did it with, let's say, hard money, store of value. Ethereum, that extended it with smart contracts and stuff like that. And now we're using smart contracts to build essentially an operating layer, an operating system layer on top of Ethereum that can be used for data and AI. Now, one of the things that we don't talk a lot about is that this technology can be extended. It can be extended not just for data and AI, but for, let's say, when I was talking about data tokens, let's say there's a fight in Las Vegas and Caesars offers up 1 million tokens for people to view. So 1 million screens around the world, no more, can actually stream this fight live. You can actually have a data token, which is issued by Caesars, and that token starts getting traded by people. And so maybe somebody bought it for $30 and then they put it onto Uniswap. And then on Uniswap, it starts getting bid up $50, $60, $100. So by the time the fight comes up, the token could be worth $1,000, and then that access is being used as it's being streamed, and then as the fight goes on, maybe the token even rises. So somebody just they're saying, I'm willing to turn off my screen if somebody pays me $10,000 to watch the last 2 rounds of this because it's a great fight. So that's how data tokens could be conceivably used in the future. So it goes way beyond data, but it's the infrastructure of solving this problem with data and AI first that can be kind of taken to the nth degree.
So how do you guys see the competitive landscape for decentralized, the data market sector, and kind of like who is Ocean competing with in your eyes?
I don't really consider most of the other projects as competitors. I believe that we're all collaborators. We see this with COVID-a-thon, where 4 or 5 different projects have come together related to data, AI, and blockchain. So if you look at Numer.ai, you mentioned previously, we got Fetch, we got SingularityNet, we got Daya. We got a whole bunch of projects where it's our job to build an end-to-end system that can work for the community, that can work for developers. So if you wanted to say who's the competitor for this, you could say it's the existing incumbents, the people who already hoard data and don't want to share it. And our job is to make the technology compelling and the value proposition compelling so that they open up their data. I don't know what the real number is, but I'd say maybe 5% of the world's data, no more, is within like Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Google, Alibaba, Tencent, these types of guys. And 95% of the data is in places like Roche. They're in Tesla. They're in different places like supply chain stuff. So all over the world, there's all this data that isn't being shared. And that data is extremely valuable that you could use for instance, a Numer.ai challenge. If you can make it so that the AI is trusted, then you're looking at SingularityNet. If you're looking at orchestration of agents, then you're looking at Fetch. So Ocean is a piece of this, and it's a connective layer for sharing the data. And then you have all these other components around that we can essentially build a complete stack with.
Got you. So I guess maybe a way of thinking about Ocean protocol is kind of like a middleware protocol, right?
Yes, exactly. It's an operating system on top of Ethereum and other networks that can have scripts and smart contracts that allow for data to be shared. And then other technologies and tools can either use it or be integrated with it in different ways, so that you have complementarity. I think we're a couple of years out, 2 or 3 years out. So the space is moving so fast, but we're still 2 or 3 years out before we see, let's say, a winning protocol. And we might all need to win for us to unlock the world and onboard them into decentralized technology. And only then are we going to get into to discussions about competition and all that sort of stuff. But right now, I think as a community, we need to work together to make all this stuff happen.
Right. And then kind of last question from the audience. What does the regulatory landscape for this look like? And are there any kind of like legal challenges to what you guys are doing?
I think just like the decentralized world, like the DeFi space is wrestling with how do we rebuild the financial system from the bottom up in a decentralized fashion, knowing that you have in America kind of a whole bunch of regulatory agents in Europe, in Asia, et cetera, China, and all that sort of stuff. You have the same thing with IP, except with IP, you do have one set of laws in general. You have, they vary a little bit, but you're dealing with intellectual property law. You're dealing with the same stuff that Decentraland would be dealing with too. So all it is just how do you deal with IP? And if there is a conflict, do you have something in the decentralized space to deal with the dispute resolution? I would say at this stage, no, and we're not going to have that for 5 to 10 years. People like Aragon are working for this and such like that. But the good thing is that you do have a very good body of intellectual property law to fall back on. So if there's a violation of somebody's copyright in, let's say, America, but the perpetrator is in Europe, you can still bring that person to justice in some form, or you can raise a case and make that aware. So that's the beauty of the technology, is that you don't have to go fully decentralized on all the layers yet. You can do it on the technology layer so that the connective tissue is there, and then the legal system catches up. And that's always going to be the case.
Yeah, that makes sense. Great. Well, thanks for that very informative session. Where can people check out and learn more about Ocean?
Just go to oceanprotocol.com. and then you can get into our developer communities, the blog, the forums, etc.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.